Let's start with a question. If the United States and Iran went to war tomorrow, who do you think would win? The obvious answer seems to be the US, right? I mean, with its massive military. But the real answer is way more complicated, and honestly, it might not be the one you expect.
So let's get right into it by challenging a huge assumption. When we think about modern war, we usually picture this straightforward clash of strength. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at this particular conflict?
So here's the question at the very heart of this. Could the United States, with what is, without a doubt, the most powerful military on the planet, actually lose a war against Iran? I know, on the surface, that sounds almost absurd. But the reality is, a war like this wouldn't be some quick, clean fight. It has the potential to become one of the most dangerous, messy, and costly wars in recent history. Because for one side, the goal isn't necessarily to win, it's just to make the cost of fighting absolutely unbearable for the other. To really get why, you have to realize that these two countries wouldn't even be playing the same game. They operate with two completely, and I mean completely different military philosophies. So, on one side, you have the US approach. It's all about conventional dominance, right? We're talking advanced jets, massive aircraft carriers, and a defense budget that's bigger than the next 10 countries combined. Iran's strategy, though, it's the total opposite. It's built on a concept called asymmetric warfare. So what is asymmetric warfare? Well, it's not about meeting your opponent head-on in a traditional battle. It's a strategy designed to make a stronger opponent bleed. The whole idea is to use unconventional tactics to find vulnerabilities and just make the war so painful and so expensive that the stronger side eventually says, you know what, this isn't worth it, and gives up. And Iran's toolkit for this kind of fight is pretty formidable. We're talking about thousands of missiles that can reach US bases all over the region, swarms of drones, sophisticated cyber attacks that can target critical infrastructure, naval mines to choke up shipping lanes, and, of course, a whole network of proxy forces across the Middle East. Every single one of those tools is designed to inflict maximum pain. But here's the thing, Iran's strategy goes way beyond just weapons. It also has some major strategic advantages that have nothing to do with military hardware. And honestly, these might just be its most powerful assets. First, just look at a map. Iran is basically a natural fortress. It's protected by these huge mountain ranges and vast deserts. This kind of rugged, defensible terrain makes a ground invasion an absolute logistical nightmare. Invading armies have learned that the hard way, time and time again throughout history. And the fighting probably wouldn't stay inside Iran's borders for long. Through its network of allies and proxy forces, Iran has influence all across the region. A direct attack on Iran could instantly ignite a much bigger, much more chaotic regional war. And that brings us to the global impact, because a war between the US and Iran wouldn't just be their problem. No, it would come with a massive price tag for the entire world. It all comes down to this narrow stretch of water right here, the Strait of Hormuz. This isn't just an important shipping lane, it is the single most important choke point for oil on the entire planet. A massive chunk of the world's oil supply passes through there every single day. So, what happens if that choke point gets disrupted, or worse, blocked? Well, the ripple effects would be immediate and severe. Global fuel prices would absolutely skyrocket, international stock markets could crash, and the slowdown in global trade would hit economies everywhere, from Europe to Asia. And you can bet that beyond the economy, the political dominoes would start to fall fast. Both the US and Iran have powerful allies who could easily get pulled into the fight, making the whole situation far more unpredictable and almost impossible to contain. Which brings us right back to our original question, but with a whole new perspective now. After thinking about all these factors, we kind of have to reframe what it even means to win a war like this in the first place. See, here's a key insight. Victory in modern warfare isn't just about who has the bigger army or the better tech. It's about endurance. It's about political will. It's about who can bear the long-term costs. Iran may not be able to beat the US on a traditional battlefield, but it can absolutely try to make the war so long, so costly, and so politically toxic that the US is eventually forced to walk away. And that leads us to a pretty sobering conclusion. When you weigh the potential for a regional firestorm, global economic chaos, and a long, bloody, drawn-out conflict, the truth is there may be no real winner at all. Both sides, and frankly, the rest of the world, would face devastating damage. And that leaves us with one final, very provocative thought to chew on. In a war like this, where the fallout is so immense and the path ahead is so uncertain, the cost of victory might just be far, far higher than the price of defeat.